So last week we had started on a prompt about your favorite holiday. We've gone through our brainstorming, we went through our planning, and we started to work on our rough draft. And last week I told you to focus just on making sure you write down first what was your favorite holiday for that question. Then you start writing about just the first reason why you like it. Right? So really quickly, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna write on my paper so that it matches what you should have on yours. Okay? I'm just gonna kind of catch up to you guys here. I told you before when we looked at my planning, my brainstorming, that my favorite holiday was Halloween. So that's exactly what I'm gonna start off with. Halloween is my favorite holiday.
Should we do this?
This part should already be done.
Oh,
So right now we're not doing anything. Right now I'm going to show you what we're going to do next with the part that we've already written. Because right now I'm catching up to where you guys are. We should have that first sentence, the answer, what was our favorite holiday? And then we should have talked about that first reason. If you remember from my planning, I said my first reason was the scary movie. Okay, so I could put scary movies are my favorite kind of movie. And Akai, I even said out loud, don't turn it in. There's no due date on it. We're not finished with it. We're not almost finished. We need to make sure that we're following the instructions, because when you turn it in, you're not going to be able to fix anything. And I know that that writing isn't complete yet. I know it's not the best we can make it. But just because we finished for that day doesn't mean that we go and turn it in right away. But we'll fix that a little bit later. Okay, so scary movies are my favorite kind of movie. And then I would want to describe that a little bit more, so I could talk about scary movies. Okay, but what I want to talk to you all about first is I want to talk to you about beginnings in your writing. Okay, there are many different ways that you could begin your writing, and we want to make sure that the beginning of our writing is very interesting, or that it grabs the attention of our reader. And the reason is this: if you can get the attention of whoever is reading your writing from the very beginning, it's going to make them want to finish reading your writing. They're not going to want to stop. Now, if they start off your reading and they start off bored, it's going to be kind of hard. It's going to mean that you have to work harder for them to pay attention to you. The same way that if you were talking to somebody, and when you start talking to them, they're looking at you in the eye and they're not talking. They're not working on something else or playing with their phone or playing with stuff in their pocket, whatever. If they're looking at you and they're paying attention, it's much easier for you to talk to them than if you start talking to them and they've got their phone in their hand, or they're half asleep, or they're looking out the window and doing something else. Because then you kind of have to, like, hey, over here, pay attention. The same thing is true of your writing. So I'm going to show you all a couple of different ways that you can start your writing where you grab your reader's attention right from the beginning. Okay? And to find that, I'm going to go into our notebooks. I'm going to go into our writing notebook. You can always look back at this if you need to. And I'm going to look here. Strong beginnings. Okay? So strong beginnings is just that. Beginnings that grab your reader's attention so that they're paying attention to your writing. That way, you don't have to work as hard for them to want to finish your piece of writing. I don't know if it's ever happened to you all, but there's been a couple of times that I'll pick up a book, and when I start it, it's okay, but it's not super interesting. And those books are kind of hard to finish for me. I might stop in the middle of them, or I might just give up. I might not even finish the book. If the book starts in a way that I'm like, wow, what happens next? Or, oh, that was cool, then I want to go and finish that book. So these help us to start off our stories the same way. These help us to start our writing in a way that our reader will go, huh, I wonder what happens next. Or they'll go, oh, that's cool. And they'll want to finish our writing. They want to finish reading it. So here's some examples, okay? Number one, strong way to start your writing is with dialogue. And dialogue just means two people talking back and forth. So it could be you and your brother, you and your mom, you and your dad, whoever. So you could start it off by talking. Now, an important thing is that whatever they're talking about, it has to be related to your topic. They can't just be talking about whatever. So, in my example, if I'm going to be writing about Halloween, I can't have, let's say, me and my sister talking, and I can't go, hey sis, do you like Cinnamon Toast Crunch? And she goes, nah, I like Lucky Charms. And then I say Halloween's my favorite holiday. If I do that, my reader's going to start off my story going, what are you talking about? Are you talking about cereal or about Halloween? I don't understand. And if they're confused, they're going to have to work harder to figure out what I'm saying. So my dialogue has to be about Halloween. The people have to be talking about Halloween or something related to Halloween. So they could be talking about jack-o'-lanterns, about decorations, about scary movies, about I don't know, putting up cobwebs and spiders or something like that. It has to be something about Halloween. So my dialogue could be move that spider web and the big spider to the left, said my mom. So I'm starting off with my mom talking to me, and we're talking about something related to Halloween. We're not just talking about popcorn or talking about cereal or about if it's going to rain or not. We're talking about Halloween. And already my reader is going to start off and they're going to be wondering, why are they just moving a spider web? Why don't they take the spider out of the house? What are they doing? And then when they see the next sentence, Halloween is my favorite holiday, they're going to go, "Oh, it's not a real spider. It's a decoration spider. It's a fake spider." And then they're going to want to know more about what I'm going to say. Now, dialogue is not the only way to start. Another way that you can start is with onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia are words that mean sounds. So they give us some examples like vroom, the car sped away quickly. Now, when you start with an onomatopoeia, again, it has to be related to your topic. So, like this example, vroom, the car sped away quickly. Ours don't have a whole lot to do with Halloween. So I don't think I'd want to start off my story with vroom and then talk about Halloween. Because again, my reader's going to be going, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Why are you talking about cars? So I would need sound that goes with Halloween. Who can help me out? What's a sound that might go with Halloween? Messiah, make sure we're not playing, okay? Bella, what's a sound that goes with Halloween? Haley, Kylie, make sure we're not playing around. Make sure we're focused. Make sure we have our cameras on, girls. What's a sound, Bella, that goes with Halloween?
Boo?
Okay, boo. Boo is a great one. So I could start with boo. And what might make that boo sound for Halloween? What do you think, Bella? What would be making that boo sound?
A ghost?
Okay, a ghost. Like I love those decorations, the ones that you kind of hang them up or you put them somewhere, and then when people walk by, they like, start making the sounds or whatever. So boo. Let's see. The ghost on my table shouted when I walked past. So when I say the ghost on my table, they're gonna know, oh, okay, it's one of those decorations. So they know what I'm talking about already. And again, my reader's not starting off confused. They're starting off interested. Okay, why is the ghost sitting on the table? And then when I start talking about Halloween, they'll know, oh, it's part of the decoration. I get it. It's not just a haunted table all the time. We could start off with the question. Again, whatever question you ask has to be related to the topic. So this example, have you ever woke up late? That doesn't work for me because my holiday is not sleep for a long time day, Halloween. So my question would have to be about Halloween. Now this one, I do have to kind of warn you all about. For question, it's very easy to just come up with a question like, do you like Halloween? Very simple to do that. But because it's so simple, it doesn't work as well as it could. It works okay, but it's not the best way to start. Not the strongest beginning. I would want to make sure my question is still about Halloween, but not just do you like Halloween? Since I'm talking about a holiday, my question could be, what is your favorite holiday? But the best one is something related to Halloween. So instead of saying, do you like Halloween? I could maybe say something like, do you like vampires, werewolves, and let's do ghosts. We did that earlier. Do you like vampires, werewolves, and ghosts? And say Halloween is my favorite holiday. So my question is related to my topic. We have action. Action means that something is happening. So they give us an example. I snatched my backpack and ran out the door. If you're going to start your writing with action, you don't want it to be like lazy action. You want it to be something either fast or something with lots of action. So like here, they didn't just pick up their backpack and walk out the door nice and calm. They snatched it up, they ran out of the door. So they're probably running a little bit late. They need to get to school quickly. Something is happening, but it's fast. Or there's a lot of action. So I don't want to start my story with something that's just a little bit of action. Like I looked to my left. Or I looked to my right. Or I brushed my hair. I want to start it with something that has a little more action than that. We talked before about the decorations, the ones that move. What's something that a decoration might do, the ones that move when people walk by? Something that, not that they say, but something they do. Noah?
Scare you.
Okay, and how might they scare you, Noah? What's something they do that might be scary?
They look scary.
Okay, they look scary, but what's an action? Again, sometimes those ones that like you walk past them and then they do something. What's something they could do that would scare you, Noah?
They surprised you.
Okay, they surprised you. I don't know if you've ever seen these ones, Noah. They used to be real popular. They used to have like the bowls that you would put the candy in, and there'd be like a zombie hand kind of sticking out in the back. And then when you go and you reach for the candy, they go, they grab you. So we could do that because that is, some people go, oh, because they didn't expect the hand to go out and grab them. So I can put the zombie hand, and again, I want it to be not just like touch. They didn't just go. There you go. That's not spooky if it just pokes you. You want it to snatch it or to slap your hand. The zombie hand slapped my hand out of the candy bowl. So I start off with some action. And again, not just the zombie hand poked me, or the zombie hand slowly waved. I want it to be lots of action. You're right, like something out of a Goosebumps book. Okay, a snapshot. A snapshot is a little bit longer than these other introductions we've talked about, but a snapshot can work very well. A snapshot is like if you were going to take a picture on your phone. You'd have everyone, get together and they all do whatever kind of pose they want. If they just want to be smiling or hugging, whatever, and you take your picture. A snapshot is very similar. You think of like a scene. In this case, mine's about Halloween, so I think of like a Halloween scene. So, I think of something I would see around Halloween time, and I want to describe it to my reader. So, usually when I think of Halloween, I think of like people in costumes, walking door to door with bags, swinging, because they're like usually running because they want to get as much candy as they can. So they're usually kind of running. So the bags are kind of like swinging back and forth when they're running. So I could describe that to my reader. I could describe little kids in costume are running down the street, swinging. You know what? I want to make sure that this sounds like a great Halloween. So they're swinging big bags full of candy. So if I describe that to my reader, little kids in costumes running down the street, they're swinging big bags of candy, they're already going to have a good idea of what holiday I picked. Because no one's going to read that and go, is that a 4th of July? Is that what's going on? Or they're not going to go, oh, there's kids in costumes? It has to be Christmas. They're going to know what I'm talking about already. And I could even add more description. I could say that they're in bright costumes. Or I could say if they were big, big plastic bags full of candy. So you're just describing a scene that you might see. The next one's a flashback. A flashback? Who's ever seen those like in TV shows or in movies? A flashback. Just raise your hand. Okay, so a few of us. A flashback is just saying like a memory. And sometimes in movies or TV shows, I know they do this in cartoons a lot. When someone thinks about the past, they'll usually do something like this and they'll go, and you'll see like a cloud come out of their head, and it usually plays like some dream music, like do 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 do, and then it shows you something that happened in the past as they think about it. That's what a flashback is. So you start with a memory. Now, of course, in your writing, you're not going to start by going, oh yeah, do 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 do. You're just going to start with your memory. So for Halloween, one memory I have is when I was older. I wasn't trick or treating anymore, but I used to go with my nieces when they were really little. And when they were really little, they would get scared kind of easily. Not so much anymore. Now they're kind of used to it. But when they were little, they would get scared really easily. And so when we would go to different houses, if the house looked too scary, they wouldn't want to go up and get candy. So what I would do is I would either go with them, or if I saw that somebody was, let's say, hiding in the bushes and waiting to like jump out and scare them, kind of like Noah said, what I would do is I would walk with them, and before we got to the bush, I would tell them, there's somebody in the bush. Or I would tell them there's someone waiting in the tree. And that way they already knew what was going to happen and they wouldn't get as scared. And that way they would still go and get their candy and they wouldn't be scared and stay away. So I could write that as my memory. I could write, I used to walk my nieces to the doors of houses to make sure that they didn't get scared of or scared by decorations or people. I could also write about a memory of me going trick-or-treating, like holding open my bag as wide as I could and saying trick or treat and hoping that I would see those big candy bars go into the bag, or that I would see like the Reese's Pieces because I love Reese's Pieces, or the Rice Krispie treats. Or I could talk about how when I'd get the candy that I didn't like when you'd open up the bag and you see a bunch of those dot candies because they were really tasty, but they'd always get stuck in my teeth, and I would have to like dig and pick out all the little pieces of that gummy candy later on. I like gummy worms, but dots always get stuck in my teeth. I could write about those memories as well. And the last one's humor. Humor just means you start off your story with something funny. And just like all the other beginnings, it has to deal with your holiday. So I'd want to start with something funny about Halloween. So I could talk about maybe, I don't know, popping out and scaring my sister when we were little. I could talk about maybe one time that I got scared and maybe I tripped and I fell over. And at the time, I'm sure it doesn't feel very funny, but afterwards, you can kind of think back on it and go, yeah, it was kind of funny. That guy really scared me, or something like that. So I'd want to start off with something funny. Again, something funny about Halloween. I don't just want to talk about a funny movie that I saw if it's not like a Halloween movie or a spooky movie. I don't just want to talk about something funny, um, that has something to do with Christmas or Easter or something like that. I'd want to start it off with something funny that's related to Halloween. I could even start it off with a joke about Halloween. Oh, I know a Halloween joke. So, why didn't the skeleton ask his crush to the dance? Why didn't the skeleton ask his crush to the dance? He didn't have the guts. I could start it off with something funny. It has to be related to my topic. And then I tell them Halloween is my favorite holiday. So they already started off, they're laughing, and they want to figure out what else I have to say about Halloween. All right? I'm going to leave this page up for you all, the different beginnings you could choose from. But I want you to look at your prompt, and I want you to choose one of those beginnings to add to the start of your writing. You could choose whichever one you want, but choose one, add it to the beginning of your writing, and make sure that whatever you pick, it has to be related to your holiday. So if you picked Christmas, don't write a memory about Halloween or a joke about Halloween. If you picked 4th of July, don't write a question about Christmas, or don't write an action about decorating the tree for Christmas. Make sure that it matches with your holiday. But go ahead and pick one of these beginnings to use at the start of your writing. So like last time, the beginning of our writing probably looked like this. Halloween is my favorite holiday. It's probably like your first sentence. These are going to go before that. These are going to go in front of that first sentence. It should be the very first sentence of your writing. And that's what we're going to do today. That's what we're going to work on for our prompt today.